see if this works. Right, there we go. So guys, good evening and welcome to Hopper's Motorsport Vlogs. How are we doing, guys? How is everyone? It is Friday, that is right. We are here for another very live video. For this evening, we do have, of course, the British Touring Cars Croft review, but we do have a very special guest hopefully joining us tonight. We have John Chambers from the Sausage Kerb podcast. I am looking forward to this because it's been a while. Well, it's been a bit of a time, you know, to get people involved, but hopefully you guys can hear me. Hopefully you don't have to worry about the background noise. I do have the window open, so don't be offended if you do, of course, hear the... I'm just going to try and see if we get people involved, but, you know, I do have the window open because it is a bit warm tonight, so hopefully we'll get John in very soon. He's going to hopefully request to join our live video very soon for a bit of BTCC chat. I'll obviously, you know, discuss a few things about the British Touring Cars from my point of view that taken place at Croft over the weekend. Good evening, Tracy. How are you? So yeah, we're going to jump in very soon, but at the moment I'm going to try and find. As it annoys me because, as I say, we'll try and get people in. We'll try and get John in a minute. Just give me 1 second. There he is. I'll try and get him to hopefully join in a minute or two. But yes, we're going to be talking all things BTCC. And we'll try and request John to join. If not, then he will hopefully join us. But if we'll keep trying. But looking forward to this because, as I say, we'll be talking all things BTCC. But hopefully he'll accept the invite. But speaking as the devil, he is here. Hello, John. How are you doing, mate?
I've made it. I've made it. Was mucking around with my phone, etc. So it looks like I'll just have to stick with the phone for now.
Yeah, no, right, mate. That's cool.
But as long as you can hear me, okay, I can hear you fine.
Yeah, I can hear you spot on, mate.
Good.
So obviously, you know, you do the Sausage Kerb podcast.
Yeah, we try. You know, there's 3 of us. And much like most of the people who created all these, you know, Facebook lives and Instagram lives, etc., we actually got together before COVID, and then COVID kind of pushed us down a certain route. So we try our hardest to kind of get together whenever we can and get involved with most motorsport. Any motorsport, we've got our own interests in motorsport, but we all love the British Touring Cars, so
yeah.
And I've watched a few of you. I've watched a few of your vlogs, etc. And I kind of like the way that you don't take any, you know, negativity in the sport, and you just want to talk about the sport and have discussions, etc.
That's the thing.
I'm all for.
Yeah, go on.
Yeah, I'm all for. Yeah, I'm all for that.
Well, I've been a fan for touring cars for 24 years. I worked at Aldi when I was at Croft over the weekend with my dad, because my dad went to Croft with me and my partner or my wife.
Yeah.
And it was like, you've been following it for 24 years when you were 9 years old. I'm 34 this year.
Yeah.
It's like, what?
Yeah. I think I'm a little bit more, but I'm a bit older, you see. I'm 39. So, but yeah, I think we started following it. I was lucky, you see. I lived round the corner from Knockhill. I mean, literally round the corner from Knockhill.
Oh.
So we were quite fortunate, and as soon as we knew what the touring cars were, we were up there. We were up there. So we were lucky. We got to mingle and get freebies, and ended up with a big reefs from Alan Menu and all the rest of it when we were kids.
No.
And my mum hated them because they stunk of booze, and I hung them on the wall in my bedroom. But yeah, we had good times, and that's kind of what got me into British touring cars, and of course the games and stuff.
Yeah.
The games were a big part of actually getting you to realise what British touring cars was, I think.
Yeah, I think that's what started with me. Obviously, playing the games on the PlayStation, even though I wasn't good as my dad, he was better than me. He was like doing it manual gears and 10 times like doing it on intermediate, maybe expert. And I was doing it on novice. I was like, how the heck is to do that? And I can't.
Yeah. Yeah, and it done a big thing for British touring cars, and I think that's kind of what got our taste buds going. And when we found out it was just they were racing just round the corner, then yeah, it was mad really. But so yeah, here we are. Still go as much as I can. Still try and get to as many British touring cars in any motorsport really as I can. But British touring cars is the number one for me. If I was to choose it, and I've managed to get a whole load of other people involved as well. Like I think I've managed to drag along at least 5 or 6 people who had never been to British touring cars before in their life, or maybe never even watched it. I've managed to drag them along to a few events. So yeah, it's good. It's all good.
That's the same with me, because I took my partner and wife to literally just go to Snetterton 4 years ago. But then she went to Alton Park previously, and then been to Croft twice, Snetterton twice now. So, you know, it's something that I find very addictive is the BTCC.
Yeah, I have to agree. I
think most people don't realise how addictive it can be until you've followed it. Like say, I followed it for 24 years, and it's been one of the best things I've ever done.
Yeah, I think one, value for money, although I think it's just fantastic, the value for money. But two, it's like it's one of these days that because they seem to stack everybody race by race by race, you know, your support series, etc.
Yeah.
You don't want the day to end.
No, you don't.
You just want to keep on watching races till it gets dark.
Exactly.
And you don't really want to go. You don't really want to go home.
Well, yeah. That's kind of the thing, because obviously you've got 3 races British touring car, then you've got a heck of a lot of support races, and probably support races that we never dreamed of seeing.
Yeah, definitely.
You know, it's like, okay, when I started in 1999, I had no idea exactly how loud a British touring car would be.
Well, yeah. Yeah, that's one thing.
And I was like, I was like this and like this when I first went. I was like, why the heck was I doing that? But then I realised, well, it's something I'm sensitive to noise, so you know, it's one of them.
Yeah, a lot of people are. I've seen a lot of people who. I think if I was to take my daughter along, I would give her the ear defenders first, and then she can take them off when she wants, type thing, rather than go back.
Well, I remember when I went to Alton Park 1999, May Bank Holiday weekend at the tender age of 9. I remember seeing a touring like the Volvo S40, the Ford Mondeo, the Honda Accord, just to name a few. And I remember crying when that went past me and saying to my dad, I want to go home. And I was like, hang on. I love the sport, but I still persevered with it.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, I like say I love it, but I've grown up and I've seen all sorts of drivers, and you know, there's a love-hate relationship with certain teams and drivers. I'm not going to basically name many teams, but as you can tell at the minute, you know, there's obviously a love affair with the Napa squad.
Yeah.
But there's a certain reason why my pal's Dan Rowbottom's in Napa, so you know. Yeah.
Yeah.
And people probably get
Dan's a good guy.
Talking about him.
Dan's a good guy. He came on the podcast once with Michael Crease, and yeah, he's really good to talk to. He comes across really well, and Yeah, you know, he gave us a lot of information and stuff, and it's all the kind of inside little bits of information that we want, because, well, then we'll get other fans get to know as well, don't they? So it's
Yeah,
like,
of course, yeah.
Some people are just happy, sat there on the bank watching it, listening to the radio, and that's them. They go home, and that's their enjoyment. But we just keep on going. We want more and more information.
Exactly. As it's like me, I'd rather not to have the day end. I'd rather go to the circuit at like 9:30, like I did the other week, and stay there like 9:30 later on in the evening. But unfortunately, that doesn't happen. Right?
Yeah, it goes too quick. Like it's
mad.
quick when you're there, and then so. But I think that's kind of what, if you talk about other motorsports, especially Formula One, if we're allowed to even say that word on here, but there's so many Grand Prix now that the kind of build up and anticipation for me personally it's not what it was.
Yeah.
I kind of liked it when there was maybe 3 weeks between a Grand Prix normally, because then it was like, you know, you couldn't wait, you kind of built up to see it. And it's like that with the touring cars. The touring car calendar is kind of spaced out enough. I know we're lucky we've got Knockhill next week, so we've only had a week, but we have had a summer break as well. But it's just, you could tell by that summer break, by the crowd at Croft, couldn't you, at the weekend?
Oh, you could, definitely. You could tell that it was missed, and you can tell, okay, some people are saying it was boring, some people say, I hate to say it because obviously being a Napa fan, but a Napa domination. Well,
you'll always get that.
Unfortunately, you're going to get it, and it annoys me when people start saying stuff like that, because you think, well, hang on, okay, I have my favourite team or my favourite driver, but I actually really support everyone in there because they all deserve to be on the grid.
Of course they do, yeah.
What's annoyed me is Team Hard have been very quiet about what's happened to Nic Hamilton.
Yeah, that's been, I mean, if that's where you want to start really with the weekend, that's probably been it's probably the first thing that happened on the weekend, wasn't it? We could see pictures. I didn't realise this until I looked back through, but there was pictures of Dan Lloyd and Nic Hamilton on the Friday, I believe.
Yeah, there was. And then there was one on the Saturday as well, wasn't there?
Oh, was there? Yeah. I don't know. Did he get out to free practice at all?
No, he didn't.
The car never went on the track?
The car never went out, from what I seen.
I only saw it when we turned up on Saturday. We went to the Team Hard garage for a chat, and his car was under a cover.
Yeah.
So I didn't really put two and two together at that point, actually, if I'm honest with you. It was later on when it came to qualifying that I thought, oh, we're missing a car.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I think what surprised me is I saw it on social media that Nic Hamilton's breaking news. Nic Hamilton's not with Team Hard this weekend.
Oh.
And I thought that's a bit odd, because there's no clarification to say why he's not. There's no announcement from him on his socials. And I'm like, hang on a minute. We just had FP1. He's not been on the list.
Yeah.
And when I went on Sunday, his car wasn't even in the order.
Yeah. So they'd removed it by then. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So, yeah, it was undercover when I was there on Saturday, but that was for qualifying. Yeah. I don't know what to make of it. We have seen it before where we get to this time of season and finances. I mean, Nick does sorts his own contracts and finances out, etc. And it's easy for people to say, oh yeah, he gets money and his name and all the rest of it. But in reality, he sorts his own contracts and finances out. And if the goalposts have changed at Team Hard for whatever reason, you know, they could have their own costs that have shot up due to X, Y, and Z throughout the season, or sponsors who've pulled out. They may have asked a number of drivers to cough up more money, and the drivers may have either disagreed or just not had the finances in place to. It could be as simple as that. I know that we discussed it with Creasy when he came in to Team Hard, and that, you know, the opportunity arose because obviously finances of some aspect had broke down on Bobby Thompson's side of the garage. So as unfortunate as it was, and bad news for Bobby because he was having a good season, then you've got Michael Creasy who's dying to jump back in the championship. So it is cut float like that, and you'll hear that throughout the years of British touring cars. That I was even watching a podcast with Dan Camish the other night, and
Yeah.
he even spoke about how, in fact, that was because Creasy got pushed out of a seat. That Dan Camish jumped in his seat and got his opportunity back in a touring car at it was
Thruxton,
BTC. Yeah, Thruxton at BTC racing. Yeah, so
yeah.
it's like that happen all the time. Generally, I think, unless you're very, very lucky, you're going to be on the end of some kind of financial hardship in the British touring cars, and that's whether you're a Jason Plato or whether you're a Jade Edwards or
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm not sure with Nick. I mean, do you have any opinion on it? Do you have any? What do you think personally?
I'll be honest, John. I've heard all sorts of rumours over the weekend. Like when I was there on Sunday, I had a mate of mine that says, well, he's either fell out with the team or there's budget. But I can't really picture it. I can't really just say he's falling out with the team or it's budget related, because there's that many speculation. I can't put my finger exactly on the button to say yes, it is that or it is that. There's no point, because like you said before, I bring the positivity into everything with the BTCC. I don't want to bring it down and say, okay, maybe is he falling out with the team? I don't want to go ask people in Team Hard, because I do know a few people that are in that operation.
Yeah. I mean, we'll probably find out. We'll probably find out in Knockhill. Either way,
we'll find out some stage or another. But it's like when Will Powell's left One Motorsport. What was all that about? That's not been mentioned.
That was a big one, and it was. In their statement, they said it was a kind of instant dismissal type thing. So something's gone on behind closed doors, and it sounds serious when they put stuff like that out. But again, I'm sure we'll find out at some point. But this isn't this isn't new to the British touring cars, is it? I mean, everyone loves a bit of drama and stuff, especially on social media and stuff. But this isn't new. This has been going on from the beginning of the touring cars.
No, it's been going on for a long time, regardless. So it's like certain teams, like I say, with Robo being at Dynamics for 2 years last year and the year before, and it was like, hang on a minute, what's happening here? And I can now say this, but I couldn't at the time. He told me way before it was getting announced where he was going. I had to keep it under wraps because I follow him quite well and I get on with him because, he's a great guy. But I thought, why can't, I can't tell people where he was going. And that's a big, massive trust. If I said to everyone, like, Robo's going to Dynamics when he told me, and something happened, I'd make an absolute fool of myself if he, say, for example, a sponsor collapsed at the last minute, like Category.
Yeah, exactly. It's a trust thing, and it's what would we gain. We've had little tidbits and bits of information in the past, but we don't want to go out and tell everybody because things can fall through, and you can end up look with egg on your face, can't you? Think like it. So it's a trust thing as well. What's the difference between it being officially announced and somebody getting there 5 minutes early, really, for a bit of news? You can always discuss it as soon as it's announced because then more people know about it. Yeah. So, it's kind of swings and roundabouts, really.
It kind of, to a degree, it kind of, when I try and get the latest where people are going, like Creasy and stuff like that, because Creasy's come on the vlogs before and, give us kind of words of wisdom and stuff like that. But I don't want to keep asking people where you're going to end up, where you're going to go, because at the end of the day, okay, it could be my business, but then how do you know someone's not going to leak it before you even announce it? And then, like say, sponsors either drop out or someone else jumps in the car and gets to drive instead.
So, Mark O'Neill saying that rumour has it that TH cancelled his pass. Another rumour. But he knows that the Cupra as well. Apparently, he owns the Cupra. Yeah.
See, that's another thing because there's a lot of rumours about whether he owns the car or whether Team Hard have decided, right, okay, that's it. But we don't know.
I really don't know who owns the Cupras, really, and I don't know how exactly they've set up the financial system and how to race it hard. I just know that it is a good stepping stone, and it's a dynamic kind of way of getting into the touring cars without having a huge sponsor like Cataclean or Halfords or Yuasa or whoever like that. You know, it's they do put 6 cars on the grid, and without them, who else would be putting cars on the grid type thing? So I've got a bit of time for Team Hard and what they're doing. It's just there always does seem to be a bit of movement in that, but maybe that's just contractual. You know, the contracts are probably more dynamic than the teams that you probably call bigger teams or bigger back teams. You know, so
6 cars. It's running 6 cars having an effect on it though.
You're stretching. You know, if you're stretching your resources and stuff, maybe. I don't know. Like Creasy was saying when he went back, he said they're a completely different outfit. Completely different outfit from when he was first there. He says more professional, etc. So yeah, it's hard. It's difficult. I mean, and you know, he's jumped in a car and got points in Bobby's old car. You know, he's without an engineer.
Yeah, of course.
Matt Neal was doing driver training with him. So he was doing driver training with Matt Neal. So I think he was getting shouted at by Matt Neal, and eventually, even though he had a bit of an unlucky race 1, and then if you've got an unlucky race 1, you've probably got a torrid race 2. But he had a really good race 3. So, and then Dan Lloyd had a good first 2 races, then a bit of a torrid race 3.
And then he had a shocker in race 3 because I remember seeing him go off, and I was thinking, how the heck did he manage to?
Were you sat down in there? Were you sat down in there at Clairvaux, like come through?
I was sat at Hawthorne, and it was directly in front of me where.
Yeah.
When they hit
he said he hit a bit of oil and lost. Yeah. He said he hit a bit of oil and lost grip, and the car threw him. Yeah.
So, you know, that's another thing that twists it around with, especially with, you know, when the car's got damaged, they've got to pay for.
Again, contractually, contractually, it depends what they've got in there for damage bonuses and damage costs, and whether they've got or a budget that they're allowed to hit with the damage costs until they start paying themselves, or you know, it's.
Well, look what happened last year at Alton Park with the Hyundai. That's exactly behind me.
Yeah, we were there. Yeah, we were there at that one, me and Harry. And we saw the accident, yeah. Creasy was collected in that one as well.
Yeah, he was.
He came to me after the race and went, was I being stupid there or what? Was I being an idiot there or what? He goes, I was like trying to avoid, but then when you're on the grass, you're basically a bobsleigh.
Yeah, he's just basically a passenger and you can't just go anywhere.
Yeah, but it was a big.
I remember seeing it at home and I was thinking, oh dear, this isn't going to look good.
It was a big old hit, wasn't it? For Dan, and he's done well to get back on the grid, I think.
Yeah.
So what else was there at the weekend then? What do you normally do, a rundown, or do you just normally kind of just go through generally?
Just try and go through a few talking points and stuff like that. Yeah. Like beat the Napa domination in qualifying and then race 1 and 2. You know.
Well, I was at the qualifying. Yeah, I was at the qualifying. It was interesting. So I had the live times up on my phone and tried to hear the radio, but you can't really when the touring cars are going past. So I had the times on it. I could see them flying past, and I said, "This is a rear-wheel drive track, Croft, a rear-wheel drive track."
Yeah.
And I fancy Jake Hill for pole. I just thought he's probably got slightly more hybrid than the other Beamer, and I don't know. I just fancied him for it, and suddenly the BMs were up there, and I thought, "Oh, here we go, I'm right." And then out of nowhere, the second half of quality, the Napa Focuses just ripped in front, and they were just trading laps with each other, weren't they?
Yeah,
I believe. I think Rowbottom was pole at one point. Sutton definitely was, and I think all 3 of them were at pole at one point. I think.
It's weird because Colin Turkington, people say he's the king of Croft, but you know he had a bit of a torrid weekend until race 3.
Yeah.
So
Mark O'Neill in the comments has said that it's no longer a rear-wheel drive track now, even because Tim Harvey has said so. I mean, yeah, I mean, it seems that way, doesn't it? I mean, historically, it is a rear-wheel drive track because of I suppose it's because of the launch out the hairpin generally, and then how you carry speed. But yeah, maybe with the varied conditions, etc. I don't know. It didn't seem to be a rear-wheel drive track at all at the weekend.
It didn't seem to be, in my opinion, it seemed to be very mixed between the weather didn't know what to do. It was like,
my God, no.
A couple of showers here and there, and I had a chat with Dan Rowbottom's dad, Kerb, like about what's weather going to do. You know, kept looking at the sky, and we said together after the first race podium, all right, okay, is it gonna rain? And he was like, I don't want it to rain, because if Dan does second race in the rain, he's not gonna get time to get used to the surface changing. And then when I saw him again after race 2, he said, right, I want it to now rain for race 3, because then it's getting later in the day, so more cars have been on the track, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And it was like, okay, but then it didn't. I was like, I wanted it to rain at some point to spice it up.
I mean, it did everything apart from rain in a touring car race, because it rained every other time of the day. There was showers. We were surrounded by black clouds and all the rest of it. So, it's a bit of a weird one with Croft, and the weather's always been like that at Croft. I say the weather. I think the weather's like that every track. If the wind's blowing, and which the wind was blowing quite hard into that sunny in, sunny out. I think it caught a few of them out actually. Yeah. When the wind's blowing, the weather can change.
It's weird, because I remember stood at Hawthorne at 5 o'clock waiting for the final race of the touring cars to start, and the wind suddenly picked up, and I thought, right, I've got to put my hoodie on, then I've got to put my waterproof on, because I'm freezing. Yeah. It was like,
I mean, that's a good point by Dave there as well, actually, isn't it? He's not related to me, by the way, Dave. We know each other, but he's not related to me. So don't let him pretend. He did say that obviously Turks managed to convert race 3 into a win, rear-wheel drive, and I think. But then again, when you look down from Turks, I think you have to go down to Jake Hill. He made a mistake, didn't he, Jake Hill? I think he was running well.
Yeah. He was running behind Robo, and then what I seen on the big screen, he managed to spin it.
Dropped.
And I was like,
he dropped it. Yeah, a complete spin.
He dropped it, and then it was like, what the heck?
So I think he was angry driving after that, wasn't he? I think
the problem is with Jake, and I'm not trying to be big-headed about him, because I think he's a good lad, but the amount of things he's done well, like doing the double race win at Alton Park this season, and having podiums there, and then it seems to be a bit of a weird one when he's making mistakes.
Yeah, he did. He dropped in race 2 as well, didn't he?
Yeah.
He went just completely. He went all the way around, I think.
Did he?
We'll probably talk about driver of the day at the end, won't we? I'll have to have a think about that, because I think I've been thinking about that since the weekend, and I still don't think.
I can't tell you who my driver of the day is. I think everyone deserves to be driver of the weekend.
Yeah, it's hard, isn't it? Because they are all working hard. Like, it's such a hard grid. Like, people, again, I'll go back to that. I was listening to Dan Camish the other night, and he was saying, like, it's such a hard like series. You just, even getting a win is difficult enough, but to become champion, he says it's so hard. I mean, look, how many races did Jason Plato enter?
Loads.
And he only managed, and I say only managed to become, was it double champion?
Yeah, double champion, yeah.
Which is fantastic, but look how many years he competed against different racing drivers, young, old, different cars, and he still managed to just chip away and get 2 championships. And you've got these superstars like Ash Sutton, and I mean, I think every one of Napa's drivers, even Sam Osborne's came on leaps and bounds this season, and people judge him and give him a bit of stick, but he's
done very well. He's impressed me this season so far. Like, okay, don't get me wrong, you've got Robo, Ash, Dancam, but they're trying to get Sam to where the potential, and that team is a formidable format for next season if they keep all four of them.
Yeah. I mean, I think Dan Camish said, I think he signed for Napa first out of all three, or if he hadn't, he didn't realise that Ashley Sutton had joined because he was a bit down in the dumps after he found out Sutton had joined.
I think that's half the problem, isn't it? Because going into Ash Sutton, if he wins it this year, it's going to be the first time that someone's gone from rear wheel to front to win the championship. If we start correct,
he's got it in him, innit? He's got it in him, isn't he? I think.
Yeah.
Guy's a good driver. I mean, he's a fantastic driver. He's one of those drivers, like Harry said there. That's Harry from the Sausage Kerb.
Yeah.
He's one of those drivers that could do well in any formula, and I believe that. I think the thing is, Dan Camish is as well. He's drove GT cars and single seaters and rear wheel drive cars his whole career, and then came into British touring cars and drove front wheel drive cars, and he's missed out narrowly on a championship in, was it 2019?
2019, right at the end.
I was there. I was there as well.
Well, I was at Snetterton that year, and you could tell that he was ready to.
Yeah, he was kind of doing a bit of a Turkington, really, just scooping up the points and staying consistent. But yeah, it's a difficult championship, and I think like race one, it was always going to be a bit of a Napa procession. I think Camish just took off, didn't he?
Yeah.
From memory, and then Sutton was behind Robo for the majority of the race, and then I don't know if they swapped places or whether Ash just got the job done. It looked a little bit easy, didn't it?
Yeah, it kind of looked, because when I obviously seeing what was going on, I heard it was kind of between Kev Rowbottom and myself at the time when we were talking. He was like, "Oh, it was team orders," and then it's kind of like, well, okay, team orders comes into it, but what was really, I don't know what was said. Obviously, maybe it was like Ash is probably quicker or to score more points because the likes of Tingram and Turks were probably behind.
Yeah, Tingram was only a couple of places down, wasn't he? I think he was stuck behind Jake Hill. He was right on his back bumper the whole.
Yeah, so it kind of like to try and get more points ahead of Tingram. That's probably why team orders came into the factor, and at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. They still got a 1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
And I was quite proud as punch, because it was like that's what really happened, what I wanted to see.
Yeah. But I mean,
it's difficult because, like say, I've followed Robo for numerous of years in support category. Me and him well, he's a couple of months older than I am, but it's like, that's another reason why I get on with him and I follow him quite well, because I've supported him for a number of years. Yeah.
I mean, it's good. It's fine. I'm quite happy for anyone to support whoever they like. We've got a bit of a relationship on the go with Creasy, just because he's been involved with the podcast a good few times, and we followed him into his route into GT and stuff, and you kind of spark up that kind of, and we have a bit of fun. But we have a bit of banter, etc. But at the end of the day, we still respect everyone else on the track who races as well. Because like you say,
he's been on here a few times to catch up with me and see how I'm getting on.
Yeah, good.
Good, yeah. I have a lot of respect for everyone on that grid. I don't care who it is. As long as they respect me, then I respect them.
Who's Cressy? That's Dave. Are you taking the mick out of me, Dave, or what? Or
the piss out of you, mate, I think.
I don't hear from him. I don't hear from him for years, and now suddenly he's on the case. But the result on that race one, then it was basically you had the 3 Napas, then Josh Cook 4th.
Yeah.
So he seems to have got a hold of that, and then Jake Hill 5th, Tom Ingram was 6th. This is not off the top of my head, by the way. I've got a screen in front of me.
I was going to say, bit impressive. I got other screen in front of me, so I'll have to.
Turks was 7th, so the top 10 was kind of like Jelly, then Sam Osborne, and then Aaron Taylor-Smith, who seems to be wringing the neck of that PMR.
Oh, he seems to be doing very well in that car, though.
He does, yeah. He does.
He seems to be. I don't want to say he's the ringleader of that team, but he seems to be bringing the likes of Andrew Watson and, of course, Mikey Doble into that.
Interesting, yeah. It is interesting because when we went to Donington, all of us went to Donington actually, and we went for the weekend. And when we saw the new lineup, so Aaron Taylor-Smith, Mikey Doble, and Watson, kind of thought, oh, who's going to come out? You know, Watson was absolutely fantastic. Watson was, he had it absolutely nailed at Donington. And then, obviously, then we had a wet race, didn't we? Oh, no, was that later on? Was that race 3 or race 2? We had a wet race. And Doble obviously pipped Hamilton, which was a kind of, was a bit, kind of wanted Hamilton to get it. But, but then Doble was a brand new driver, so you're kind of like, well, he's obviously absolutely full of adrenaline and stuff. And then I think Aaron Taylor-Smith had a good finish as well. But it looked like the new boys were kind of, you know, but then as the seasons went on, Aaron Taylor-Smith, I think, I've not looked at the points, I will in a minute, I think Aaron Taylor-Smith's, you know, really done a good job. I think he's 15th overall, yeah. Yeah, he's 15th overall.
He's doing well, though, that's the thing.
Well, they're all scoring points, you know, and don't know, it's, I think it's top 15, is it, points, is it?
Top 15, yeah.
Top 15 points, so I think, so the last 4 that I never mentioned was Ricky Collard, Dan Lloyd, Aidan Moffat, Mikey Doble, and Tom Chilton. And then Andrew Watson was 16th, the worst position in touring cars, and at 16th you don't get anything.
Yeah, don't score any points there.
Yeah.
But no, what's impressed me though is with obviously Aaron Taylor-Smith, he's raced all calibre of machines in BTCC.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
He seems to be wringing the nuts off that Astra. That's how many years now old. Yeah. And they've developed it into probably potentially one of the best things they've probably ever done.
Yeah, I do. Well, I wonder if he got the new shell and chassis and stuff. I don't know. It's
they'll be arguing about that.
I know it's funny, but we wonder how long the Astras will still be on the grid and stuff. You know, there was talk. There was. I don't know if I don't even know if Motorbase were going to run the Fords this year either, the Focus, because that's getting quite old, Mark III.
Yeah. And they said they were going to go rear-wheel drive this season.
Yeah, it was all that was on the cards, but I think they when they found out what budget they were getting, they decided to put it all into engineering.
Yeah.
And well, you're seeing the rewards. If you understand that, you're seeing the rewards. You know, exactly. It's as simple as that.
You can tell exactly where that money's gone to improve that Focus.
Exactly. If people understand that, you know, if the people understand that they've, you know, updated chassis, shells, and rebuilt cars and put the best engineering into it, and it all looks the same from the outside apart from its livery. You know, if you know what's went on, then they've nailed the cars. And plus, I think they said that they were like, I'm sure they were testing before Christmas.
Yeah.
You know, like, and everybody else was still sorting out what they were going to be doing next year. And I think Napa already had cars out and stuff like that.
Because Dan Cam said on Wednesday night with Rich on the hard compound, he said that they were already testing before everyone else.
Yeah.
It's like that's probably what's made the rewards even sweeter for them for this season.
That's what budgets do, I suppose, in touring cars. That's what budgets do, and you know, and that it's as simple as that. If you've not got your lineup, you can't be testing cars and setups and seeing what's quick and slow and what's broken and what's not and how you like to drive. And I mean, I know again going back to Chris, he was saying to us at the weekend that he usually likes a car that's, you know, quite tail happy. He quite likes the oversteer, and then control it through type thing like that from a front wheel drive car. But he said that the Coupe Pro is very understeery, so he's had to relearn how you turn in early and then kind of rake the wheel to get around corners rather than back end stepping out and you're going, whoa, where's that going?
Yeah.
So it's kind of, people don't really know, like they'll go, oh yeah, he was 21st in race 1 and blah blah, it's his first race back and stuff, but they don't really know what goes into it and how the cars are developed and you know, people can take components off and on and try different components than their teammate. You can completely
set ups in the engineering.
Yeah.
Which I find fascinating, because just going on to Ash Sutton with Antonio Caruso, he's been Ash's engineer for God knows how long.
Yeah.
They seem to have the dream team. But Ash has had now 2 race 3s, Croft and Norton Park, where he's made mistakes, and it's been mistakes where he's not finished.
Mm-hmm.
And then look at what he did in race 1 at Donington early on in the year.
Yeah, it's like Mark said there. He said that because Ash's engineer didn't have any telemetry till the end of the season, his last season, it's why they've done a complete rebuild, and then they start with a blank canvas, don't they, with their setups, etc. So they're obviously good together. They obviously know exactly what each other are saying to each other when they're saying this is doing this and this is doing that, you know. But the mistakes, like you say, or the gremlins. I mean, how did he go out again on? What happened at the weekend? What happened?
I think, was it steering or something? He had a contact or something. I don't know.
He ended up with a puncture, I think, and steering was knackered, I think. But
okay, yeah.
But I don't know how. I'm trying to think how it came together.
Because I know for a fact, Jelly went off at Hawthorne. I don't know.
Oh yeah.
I don't know how that happened though, but I think Jelly broke.
He rejoined and then they came together.
I believe so, yeah, because I was too busy seeing what happened to Dan Lloyd. So
yeah, exactly. That just happened in front of you, hadn't it? So yeah, we've not even.
He's got to be careful, because if he gets more of them, then it's going to be closing the gaps right back up again. Yeah,
I mean, so he was second race 1, wasn't he? Obviously because of team orders or whatever.
Yeah.
Then race 2 he wins, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Did he get him off the start? I can't remember if don't know if they were on. I think he was on different tyres, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Ash went on the softer, or was he just on the what they call the option? Not the prime. Yeah. So then that was a 1, 2, 3 again, wasn't it? That was Ash Sutton, Dan Camish, then Dan Robon.
Yeah.
Then Tingram, then Josh Cook.
Yeah. Which is scary to think, because what's happened to Josh Cook and what's happened to the FK8s this year? You know. I don't picture. I can't put my thumb on it.
I saw people. What was it after? Was it after Thruxton? And what was his result at Thruxton? I can't remember. Did he suddenly come into life at Thruxton, Cookie? Yeah, I think he did, didn't he? Third,
yeah.
Third, and whatever. But there was a lot of people going, "Oh, it's amazing what a bit of boost can give you." You know, that seems to be the kind of term that everybody comes out with, isn't it? When somebody starts doing well. But it is interesting that, I mean, the problem is the other driver, Moffat, he's probably still getting to grips with that car. Looks good.
Yeah, it looks it, but then it's like,
Yeah, I mean, he's getting the best out of the car, Josh, isn't he? But we kind of need Josh Cooks and Turkingtons to be winning a bit more races, I think, to make it really exciting. I mean, like you said, Ash Sutton really should be away. He should be.
He should be. I think after the weekend, he should be like at least 23 points.
Yeah, I believe so.
But he went in 6 points ahead and then came out 6 points ahead. So really, so much really needs to change. Otherwise, if he's going to do that, Ingram or the other guys are going to catch him up.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
Can you remember any kind of talking points from race 2 at all? Because I can't.
I can't over.
I think like the spin that we spoke about already by, I think Jake Hill. Did Morgan? No, Morgan clapped the tyres in race 1, didn't he?
He did, yeah. I saw that happen right in front of me. I was like,
he went into a slide as well, didn't he? Yeah. He went in a full slide and then like basically bashed the tyres halfway across the bloody track.
Yeah. I was like, how the heck's he managed to do that? Because
He's had a big bang and saw the tyres going woof.
yeah, because you could tell that the back end of that BMW, well, that back quarter was literally that tyre bundle's obviously done a lot of damage to do that. And then he had a shocker in race 3. He's not. I hate to say this, but okay, he's raced the BMW for how many seasons now? But he's had not much luck as he has previous seasons.
No. It did. It was quite surprising. Another one that surprised me. I know this is a bit off. Well, it's on topic, but the Toyotas are just struggling.
The Corollas are they're really weird this year because they've got obviously the super engine, and I kind of think, well, hang on, the super engine's actually a BMW engine, so what's going on?
Oh yeah, of course, yeah. Morgan did DNF in the last race as well.
He did. I don't know how you managed to.
I would agree with Chris Kidman saying that Sutton is the Max Verstappen of BTCC, but I believe Sutton's better at overtaking than Max Verstappen is, and he probably. But it'd be interesting to see. Actually, it'll never happen, obviously. But yeah, Morgan ended up dropping race 3 as well. He was a DNF. There was a lot of DNFs race 3.
Well, there's quite a lot, wasn't there? There was the likes of Jack Butel, wasn't there, as well?
Tom Chilton, Stephen Jelly, Adam Morgan, Ashley Sutton, and Dan Lloyd. There's quite a lot of cars. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah. Nick Halstead was kind of propping up the back. Ronan Pearson's had a bit of a torrid time in that Hyundai as well.
He's had a bit of a probably a bit of a tough time at Croft because I believe from what I've read somewhere on social media or wherever that there was either an altercation between him and Aidan Moffat in one of the races or 2 of the races or something, I don't know. And Aidan's dad's been involved and he's been fined or something's happened. I don't know.
Yeah, I never heard that one, but it's a bit awkward. 2 Scottish drivers at each other.
Yeah, it's something that you don't really want to have in this sport, but
it happens. It does. It just tempers get high, don't they? There's a lot at stake. But Pearson really had a bad weekend. I think he dropped it somewhere, and then the car didn't sound right. I thought it had a misfire actually. When I think it might have been race 1, it sounded like it was like double going up, double shifting.
Yeah.
He was still ahead of Halstead, but not by much. Yeah, bit of an odd one for him all weekend, really. I think he struggled, but Creasy managed to get up to 11th position from 21st. Yeah. Obviously, looking at it, maybe 4 or 5 of them were DNFs in front of him, but that's part of touring cars, isn't it? You've got to keep the car going.
Yeah, it's all about the memento, and it's about keeping points make prizes. You can't afford. Obviously, back in the day, they had top scores, but you don't have that anymore. So, you've got to keep pushing and pushing, and got to be consistent. If you're not consistent, well,
yeah. Mark's confirmed it. Like we said, it was Morgan and Sutton came together. I think you're right. I think it was like he went wide, cut the chicane, came back on the track, and I think they caught each other, didn't they?
Yeah.
Seemed, but yeah, it's again going back to the Toyotas. I mean, they don't seem to consistently be near each other, which is kind of when you've got good drivers in there. Yeah, I've got good drivers in there, like, and Rory Butcher, I thought would have been the team leader. We'll see. We'll probably see the true pace of the Toyota next weekend because that's Rory's back garden, isn't it? So
yeah,
quite literally.
Exactly.
So yeah, it'll be interesting to see that. Yeah, it was quite cool. Race 3, it was quite enjoyable. But I think that was because you were seeing a mixture. You were seeing a mixture of the tyre choices. I think a lot of people were hoping it was going to rain late.
Yeah, I think that's what I was kind of hoping. It would rain race 3 and then spice it up a bit.
And I think the people who held on to their soft tyres were gambling that it wouldn't rain, obviously.
I think the likes of Robo, 'cause I think he was on the hards for race 3. I think he was kind of like, I don't really want to use the hards. I want to use the wets.
Yeah.
Because obviously, I think he was on the mediums for race 2, and then he started to say, well, really, would rather use the mediums instead of like having it then wet and then it probably dries up for race 3, because then he's on the hards, and it's like, but I think most of them find the hard tyre a bit of a one they don't really like to use.
Yeah, a bit of a chew. I don't think the rear wheel drive cars like it at all. They don't.
No.
If it's not a hot day, I don't think they can get any heat in it at all. They seem to drop off the heat really quick. I was talking to a Toyota guy about the tyres, and he was saying the rear wheel drive cars just really don't like it at all. So, who is your driver of the day then? If you've got one, or driver of the weekend, or
Well, I have a few, but then sometimes I'm going to be biased and say Robo, because he to finish like 3rd in race 1 and 2 and then get 5th in race 3, then fair point. But really, I was quite impressed with the likes of Dan Camish.
Yeah, Dan Camish. Yeah, he stuck it on pole, didn't he?
Yeah.
So I think that in itself, well, probably just with that, it's probably just the hybrid. Max asked a question about the hybrid, but I think we should probably wait until we've.
Yeah.
It's a good question. It's one that I kind of feel quite strongly about, but I don't know. Driver of the day, it's hard. It's hard. You can look to the mid pack and you could probably pick a driver. Then you can look to the front and pick a driver. You know, I still think looking at the 3 races, it's tough. It is tough, really. I mean, yeah, it's got to be one of the Napa drivers, probably. But yeah, Turkington done well. Turkington done well to kind of staying about there if the BMW isn't that competitive for some reason suddenly.
It's a weird thing, but I don't know. I can't picture why they're not doing, because they dominated Alton Park. So what's
Yeah, it's a tough one. I mean, it was Mark's question about the hybrid, and basically, is it working? Is it effective enough? I think that's what he said.
Yeah.
He said, "Oh, so if Napa storms to a pole again or a top 3 in qualifying, do we think there's an issue with the hybrid?" I mean, I think there's going to go on historically what Alan Gow's tried to do with British touring cars with balance of performance, etc. Then, yeah, there is a problem. Something needs changed and tweaked, because even within a team of 3 competitive drivers like them, you know, they should be competitive with each other when it comes to the race. You know, and I mean, that's what I remember before when the Primeras, but way back in the day when the Primeras were solid, and they would, and same with the Mondeos and that, when they nailed it, and they'd be like 1-2s and all the rest of it, or 1-2-3s. And for me, what it's not doing is, no matter which way you dress up hybrid, or what you want to call it, a bolt-on battery that you press a button, or it's actually integrated with the engine, which would cost an absolute fortune, or whatever you want to call it, push to pass, anything like that, it still doesn't do what ballast did, and that's because ballast changed the physics of the car, didn't it? It changed, you know, it turned you to 60 kilos heavier than you were before, or 65 kilos, or 59, whatever they changed it to throughout the season, and that physically put a demand on the engine, which is obviously your cooling and aero and everything, and then it physically put demands on your tyres, because obviously it had more scrubbing because you had more weight, and you just got more weight, so traction, it was just everything, it affected everything enough for even the best drivers to really have to fight. And I think
London they were going to win a race, wasn't it? Whereas hybrid at the moment isn't doing that.
No, and I think that's been a big. I mean, they're obviously going to have to take seasons to nail exactly what they want to do with hybrid. Because if it was too strong the other way, you just see people shooting past people would be moaning about that as well. So it's like, I think it's just they nailed ballast. They pretty much nailed the ballast season in, season out. And we always saw if you had someone who was super quick. I mean, Mark's saying it didn't seem to affect the Q50 as much, but I think that was maybe the driver. Like he just knew when the weight was in the car how to drive that car, and just he just nailed the car, because that's the only kind of, unless the car was substantially better than everyone else's, I don't know.
Yeah,
you can't really describe it, but I just think, I mean, is there a place for a hybrid and ballast? I don't know.
It's hard to put a picture on that, because you'd think if they have hybrids, like we said, it needs to be improved, it needs to be worked on, but surely you could put a bit of success ballast with the hybrid to see how that would go.
Yeah.
But then they want. I'm sorry, so that still get me words out. But when they introduced hybrid last year, was it last year they introduced it? Yeah, it was, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I was against it completely. I said to myself, I don't like the idea of this. What's it going to do? But
yeah,
at the end of the day, I still feel confused to why in its second year is it not correctly doing what it should be.
Yeah, and I mean they did test the hybrid car on track with these guys and everything, and
because they got Andrew Jordan to go and race it at Silverstone in 21.
Yeah, because they knew that he wasn't competing.
Yeah,
for 2 years or something.
We'll get him to test the hybrid car against the modern day touring car before it went hybrid to see exactly what it was going to do, and it's not really made a difference. It was only a couple of attempts slower than I don't know who, but
yeah,
it's not really been adapted very well since.
I don't think it has. I think they've tried to tick a box to show that British touring cars isn't some archaic series which is just going to stay where it is forever. So I get that to a certain extent.
Yeah.
I mean, I probably would have first maybe went down the synthetic fuel route, like the carbon neutral fuel route or something like that, which is a cost per race, but you're proving that you're trying to be greener, rather than jumping into this bolt-on hybrid system, which is expensive and heavy. So maybe they don't want to add weight to the cars because they're already heavy. I don't know, but it doesn't. The little blue flashing light, I thought that was a good idea, because you can see when people are using it and when they're not. But to me, there isn't enough. Maybe they need to reduce the speed in which the people in front can deploy it again. I don't know, or make the speed higher. Sorry, so they've got to be at speed before they can deploy it. I don't know. Yeah. That's the only way you get bogged down, kind of, by someone who wasn't being,
Yeah, because what they've done is they've said, well, from wherever you are, like say top 5, wherever, it's a certain amount of speed, but it's only changed by a little kilometre per hour. It's not a hefty amount. It confuses the living daylights out of me. Hybrid, okay, the blue light in the back wind there, we know when they're using it, but really there should be a bit of a graphic on the front windscreen underneath the sun visor or somewhere like that, the sunstream.
Yeah, for the spectator.
How much power the hybrid is, or how much usage is left, like percentage-wise.
I'm sure did they not have, back in the day, they used to have the kilos written on the side of the window, didn't they?
That's what I mean. They should have a little graphic, like an LED graphic saying, okay, such and such has got this much hybrid boost left.
Yeah, 5 out of 8 laps or whatever. I don't know, but it is confusing. I think it is confusing.
You can't work it out when you're trackside, because all you're seeing is they're on the lights flashing, but you don't know how much exactly they've still got left or how much they've used.
Yeah, I don't.
So if we had something that we could see how much they've used, then we'd have an indication. Okay, say for example, Ashburton has 1 second of hybrid in qualifying.
Yeah.
So once that's gone, then a light should light up and say 0, or red light should be empty and a green light, the
Yeah,
grades down to like a red light as such.
well, like Mark said there, like we touched on it, they have changed that regulation to the minimum speed you can deploy it at. But it's just not, to me, it's just not made a difference. When I read that and writing before the season, I thought, that's good. Because, you're going to physically be able to see that on, the acceleration from the top. But I've not really seen it yet. You can see it a little bit through the sweeping corners at Donington, a tiny bit, when someone had hybrid and someone didn't. But it's not had their effect. I don't want to be negative about it either, because I thought, they're doing it, so they're doing it anyway. But I don't. Yeah, it's not there for me yet, and it's not.
It's not grown on me completely.
It's not kept the racing the same or added to it, has it? That's the thing for me. That's the question.
I think that's half the reason why people have said touring cars has been a bit boring this year.
Yeah, because we're not being treated. I mean, we have been treated in the past. I mean, it's still good racing, but the ballast did add that. They did add that thing with the ballast where somebody could come from outside the points, and there's a few DNFs in front of them, and then suddenly looking at a podium, and that's a game changer for guys further down the grid, financially, for the sponsors, for everything. Now that's diminishing. I'm wondering whether it's as appealing for the sponsors, because that chance isn't there. Whereas before, the chance was always there before. Reverse grid, ballast, all the rest of it.
I don't think there's been many races this season where, and I hate to say this, I've been like twice this season. I went to Snetterton in May, and I thought, okay, we had the likes of Ash Sutton winning race 1 and 2, and then Tingram winning race 3. But really, and okay, Ash was battling with Jake Hill, but it was really not down to hybrid. It was down to the fact is both of them were pushing to get victories, not because of hybrid.
Yeah.
But when it's hybrid should work to a degree where the fans can see overtaking, not just like trying to get close to the car in front or pushed away through a corner. It needs to be looked at bigger and better.
I agree. It's, to me, what is hybrid there for? Is it to make them more eco-friendly? Because I don't think it really does.
It's not really done anything to make it eco-friendly.
Is it there to make the racing better? And it hasn't really done that either. So, yeah, it's just a word to me just now. It's just a word to me just now. It doesn't really mean too much.
It's somewhat weird.
Yeah, I agree. Knockhill next week. We're actually going up to Knockhill, which will be interesting. The first time a lot of the lads have went up to Knockhill. We're going up in an electric car, so it's not mine. I can't afford an electric car. It's not mine. It's a friend's company car. Well, I shouldn't say that, but yeah, it is. So yeah, I'm gonna have to pretend I like electric cars for a little while because they're doing me a service.
It's like my other half. She's obsessed with Teslas, and I'm like, what's going on?
Well, they're a little bit like iPhones, I suppose.
Yeah.
They've got
great sort of an iPad in the middle. It's like, what?
Yeah. But yeah, Knockhill's next, isn't it? So
yeah,
that'll be interesting. Literally in 7 days and a few hours.
Jeez.
I don't know what the weather will be like.
No, I don't either. I'll be watching at home because it's a bit too far for me to get to. I know.
Yeah, I mean,
I know I'm in the Lake District, but
oh, yeah, are you up there?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good. I reckon try it could be wet. You never know at Knockhill. I've been to Knockhill and been peppered with. Oh, the years I've been there, I've been peppered with hailstones and sunburnt in the same day at Knockhill. So
you get 4 seasons in one day up there.
Yeah, it's its own little microclimate. It is because it's central Scotland. It's high up, it is on a hill. It's on the side of a hill. But yeah, we'll be staying at my sister's. We'll get free accommodation. We'll try to make it. Try to get there. Yeah, and hopefully we should have some good videos and stuff from it, because yeah, I've got a few things lined up, so we'll see. But I mean, how many races is there left then? Is that 4? Yeah, because is it 10? I'm not sure how many more we'll get to this season. I usually like going down to Brands. Somebody said there's going to be a heat wave. Not in Scotland. Nah, well, there might be.
You never know. Global warming and climate change might change all that.
I mean, is it worth making predictions, or is everyone just going to say it'll be a Napa 1, 2, 3, or do we like?
We could make a few predictions. We'll see what everyone else thinks as well.
Yeah.
I think for me, my predictions are probably going to be out the window, because I'm not going to say Napa are going to dominate, because that's just being too biased. I think it all depends on, like, I look at it with free practice 1 and 2, and then what happens with qualifying. Okay, free practice 1 and 2 is to get it settled just right for qualifying. But we've got the likes of, Jake Hill's gone well round there.
Yeah.
Last year, Ash Sutton's done the same.
Tingram's done well around there historically.
So
not so much recently.
No, but then there's been a few. Dan Camish has done okay around there, I think. But it's hard to pick.
Yeah, Knockhill's it's a tricky one. I think if it's going to be a hot one, then that could blow things open big style. That maybe will go eke towards the rear wheel drive cars if it's hot. I think if it's cold and wet, I think the front wheel drive cars will look good again. But yeah, we'll wait and see what Michael Fish, the weatherman, has to say.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to find out exactly what goes on, though.
Yeah, I mean, the Hamilton thing, I think we'll probably find out, because he's either going to be there or he's not, isn't he? Yeah. So I think people will be asking questions, and they'll probably release something.
Yeah. There's going to be questions to be answered. I think personally, with what's been going on, like I say, it's been quiet recently about it, and it seems to be that everyone wants to know exactly what's happened, because I feel sorry for Nic, because he gets a lot of stick on social media.
Yeah, it's stupid, really. Stupid. If they knew what that guy was going through just to get out of bed on a daily basis, they'd maybe.
I'll be honest. I'll say this now, and I won't obviously beat around the bush, but I have the mild form of cerebral palsy that he has, and I know how exactly difficult it can be.
Yeah, my little sister, she was born with cerebral palsy as well, so I understand that it takes her time, and she gets tired, and certain things like that affect your body and brain, that people just wake up every day without even a single thought. And actually, last week, I actually ended up with a. Have you ever heard of Bell's palsy?
Yeah, I've heard of that.
So it was like a temporary kind of paralysis of my face. Yeah. I was blinking at the wrong time and all this, and it only I managed to take tablets and get rid of that, and I'm okay. But it gave you a tiny insight into like how tired you get. My words and my thought process and everything had to slow down. I couldn't do anything. I'd get dizzy, and I just thought to myself, somebody like yourselves who have cerebral palsy, then you look at Nic and his physical ability, etc., and he jumps in a racing car,
Yeah.
And these things are brutal racing cars. They're not nice little gentlemen drivers round a track racing cars. These are brutal.
He has to literally pop his ribs out to get into the race car, and it's like, what the hell?
Yeah, he's got,
not,
he's got some
I'm
brittle.
not being disrespectful, but he's an inspiration to people like myself.
Yeah,
But then
100%.
what annoys me is when people start giving him abuse and whatnot, or saying, "Oh, well, it's only because Lewis is involved." No, it's not. Look at the bigger picture, like we say.
It's the easy answer for people who don't really want to do any research themselves.
Right.
That's the problem. And it's the same as, you know, laughing at him losing control of the car or going off or
Yeah.
whatever. You don't realise how precise these guys are driving the things, and that really
Yeah.
what he's doing. Yeah, he's not. Look, if he wins a race, he'd probably retire.
Yeah.
Because that would be the pinnacle, I think, of anything he's going to achieve. But like, his achievement is racing a competitive racing car,
Yeah.
and he isn't last. He isn't last, and
No.
even if he was, who cares? He's still
Yeah.
racing. He's still
Exactly.
doing it to. He's
And
trying to show
what?
people.
Yeah.
You never know. You might end up with a series where there's an adapted car series for people with different disabilities.
Exactly.
And if that's what he inspires, and or just get disabled people or people with different disabilities in the mainstream domestic racing, I think whatever. How can you be offended by it? How can anyone?
But what annoys me is when people put in so much negative comments last Saturday on social media. I jumped on to probably the touring car page on Facebook and started saying, you know what, do you want to jump in his car and prove a point?
No.
They should shut up.
No. It
really drags me down. And
yeah, don't let it Hopper, because these people have zero understanding, and even if you try to explain it to them, they wouldn't want to understand that, and that's the kind of main thing.
It's like with me saying I'm gonna mention this. I've got autism as well, so that for me, like cerebral palsy and the autism, my will can overload with so much stuff, and it leads to a lot of anxiety. But then when it happens, I can literally explode and lose my rag. But the thing is, don't let it bother me like doing stuff like this. But if people said to me, "Oh, you shouldn't be on the grid because you've got autism and you've got this," I'd be like, "Hang on, jump in my race car. I'm going to prove a point then, because I'm proving a point week in, week out."
Yeah. I mean, I think it's good to have definitely a focus and an interest as well in something like this.
Yeah.
But then you'll always get idiots that come in, say things out of turn, etc. And
it makes me laugh how many people say stuff, because they won't ever go to a track and go and say it to the driver's face.
Oh no, they wouldn't. No, they wouldn't. Definitely wouldn't.
Look how much shit Robo got because of Cataclean going to Napa this year.
Yeah, no, he killed team dynamics and all this kind of stuff and blah blah blah.
And that when I read all that and stuff like that, I got really highly emotional and burst into tears. I'm not going to lie, because it's the guy I look up to. And you think, hang on a minute, why do that when you know for a fact you're not going to say it to that person's face? I wouldn't go and discriminate anyone, because I'm like you've seen on my live videos, I'm a down-to-earth guy, and I spread the positivity. So
yeah, I mean that's it. And like what you're saying about Nic, if he's not on the grid in Knockhill, I would have suspected they'd maybe named a driver soon. They're not going to want a car to sit there unless it is Nic's, of course. That's what people are saying. But
yeah,
the TBL licenses are all over the place with Team Hard and Aidan Moffat Racing and stuff like that. So I'm not sure when or if anybody's going to say anything on the Nic Hamilton thing, but it'll be interesting. That's probably the biggest talking point outside the racing, really, isn't it? Nic Hamilton, because he is a big name, and people want to see him complete a full season. Has he got the most points he's ever had, I think, in a touring car season? So
yeah, well, he has, hasn't he? Because when he got that 6th place in race 2, or was it 6th? Yeah. He proved a point to everyone, but people don't see that. They don't see the bigger picture. They don't, that 6th place in race 2 at Donington must felt like a win.
Yeah, definitely. I wanted him to get a podium. I wanted someone else to
Yeah,
spin out.
I was thinking, I was praying when I watched it. I was like, I watched it at home. I was like, come on, Nick, push further. Come on, you
And
can do
he was in
this.
control. He was in complete control. He was happy with the car in the wet, and he was happy at that pace. And the gap, the only gap that was closing was just between him and Doble, which Doble was on one,
Yeah.
And he obviously got to pace with the car and stuff. But yeah, people should lay off him a bit and look at him as a person rather than a name. I think that's the problem, isn't it? With people have got, you've got a famous brother.
Yeah, that's the thing. You've got a famous sibling, so we'll just use that as the fuel to the fire.
Yeah, that is the fuel to the fire, because they don't know Nick, do they? I've met Nick, and he was bang on. He was absolutely brand new. And I met their dad as well. I met Anthony, and he spoke to both me and Harry down at Thruxton a few years ago, and he could not be a nicer person. Honestly, more down to earth, just a dad. He was just going to see his lad racing, and that was it. There was no airs and graces or anything like that. He was just a normal guy, and people get hot up in this kind of social media kind of thing. But
and that's what I try and stop with these live videos. I try and, if anyone does it, I just say, well, you know what, click the ban button on that comment, and then they can't do it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's up to you. It's your vlog.
Yeah.
We've had a few idiots over the times with us, but there's 3 of us, so we just gang up on them.
Well, there's just me, unfortunately, but it makes me laugh, because actually no one's actually been negative in here when I've been doing my live videos. People have been like, oh, I really enjoyed your content, or I really enjoyed what you do.
Yeah, and good.
Say nice things, because obviously it's probably the vibes I give, like being very positive and being down to earth, and that's what probably brings people in to treat me with respect.
Yeah, definitely. And I am just about to stick my charger in, because you already warned me about this, Hopper.
So we'll be wrapping up soon anyway.
Yeah, cool. But yeah, I'm just making sure my battery doesn't go dead.
I didn't tell you.
You did actually, by the way, about 5 minutes before he went, no, in fact 2 minutes, he went, make sure you've got a charger.
Yeah. Yeah, don't do what Mikey Doble did, because he when I interviewed him a couple of weeks ago after the tyre test, he said, I've got to go and get my phone charger, because I didn't realise how long I was going to be on for. and then I had Rich from the High Compound after Snetterton, and his battery died towards the end of the live video. I was like, but yeah.
I suppose people don't generally do video calls for a long time, do they? So the phones just die. So yeah, it's been good. I think
mine's always on charge when I do these. Yeah, even if the battery's full, because I use the phone every time.
I'll be worried it overheats.
I'm not bothered about that. I'm more bothered about the what do I call it? The core, or the foundation of the vlogs, or the fan base. I'm more bothered about them getting my points across.
Yeah.
But I think it's been really good to have you on tonight, and hopefully we can collaborate again at some point.
Yeah, I hope I've not talked over you too much.
No, you haven't.
I get verbal diarrhea, you see.
There's nothing wrong with that. I'd rather someone try and talk over me and try and get their points out as well.
No, it's been good. I think it's been good. It's some interesting points, and I think it's just good to talk about British touring cars, isn't it? Racing, really.
It's good to finally get someone or people that have the same interest jumping on. I keep saying to the guys that watch me live videos, I want Dan Rowbottom to appear on my live video. That's the aim. And when I messaged him on mine and Jen's anniversary, Jen's actually the heart and soul of Hopper's Motorsport Vlogs, to keep me going, give me the kick up the backboard. I messaged when we were out having a drink on our anniversary this year, and he said, yeah, I'll come on. And I burst into tears in the pub when he replied. I was like, what am I doing?
Isn't it? Yeah, it's brilliant.
He's a good laugh, and I get on with him, and Jen gets on with his wife, because they shared the same birthday. So it's like, couldn't ask for more.
Yeah, it's great. When I was, that's what I said when when we started with the lads and that, I won't go on too long, but I said, just to have a touring car driver come on with us and chat with us, and like we had Robo on, and we've had Parfit on as well, Parfit Junior, and
I interviewed him for a Motorsport Radio last year or the year before.
yeah,
I was starstruck because I was like, I couldn't get my words out, and I was like, what do I ask him?
we had Simon Hill on as well, who decided to call us on a potato, so we couldn't really see what was going on, but he said some brilliant stories, Simon. Yeah, yeah, there was some great stories and stuff, and that was what it was about. And I thought when I was younger, I thought I would have just dreamt of this. I would have dreamt of speaking with these people in that round, so for us it was just a big bit of fun, and we'll try and get as many people involved as we can, really.
Well, I started this 4 years ago because I was turning 30 at the time, and that's why I did it, because I thought, I'm turning 30, I want something to do to celebrate a big milestone in my life.
Yeah.
To share the passion. Okay, I've been following the touring cars for 24 years, but I didn't know how I'd share the passion with the world, with people like yourselves.
Yeah.
Like, hang on a minute, if we've all got the same interest, everyone loves the content.
It's impressive. It's impressive that 4 years.
But 4 years, I kept it going. There's been times where I lost the motivation.
Oh.
And I don't know why, I lost the motivation last year. And I think it kind of got to me, because obviously the off-season gets to me quite a bit. Yeah. Because there's nothing really to talk about.
We'll just have to make up our own rumours, won't we, next year?
I think that's what I'll have to try and do in the
laugh. We'll just have a bit of a laugh, and we'll just make up some rumours between us and say, well, Hopper's vlogs have told us.
Yeah, well, this is the thing, because I said to myself a couple of times, I do this when I go to work. I talk to myself, like, out loud when I'm cycling to work, and picturing tonight's live video or Mondays or whenever I'm live, and I keep doing it all the time, and I keep saying to myself, right, if we have negativity, then I come onto a live video the day after explaining what went on and how I feel about it. But then I realise I'm trying to calm myself down. Like I said to you, I'm getting in the zone. Yeah. Because I'm not going to lie, I've been anxious previously to get on a live video. Not tonight. Yeah. Tonight's been like probably one of the best, to be fair.
Yeah, sometimes a wee bit better to share it with someone. And going on, I mean, I think it's scary going on your own, though. Going live online on your own, I think it's fast.
I'm not going to lie, but it is very scary, because you don't know exactly what's going to happen. You don't know whether...
To me, that's a big achievement, because far more people would rather not do that than do that.
Yeah.
Far more people, I reckon. It was easy for us because Rich, the big bald guy with the big beard, he's a streamer, and
I watched some of his streams when he games.
It's complete second nature to Rich, and I don't think he gets how stupid me and Harry are when we're like, what do we do here? How do we do this? But we've learned. He's taught us loads, and it made it less scary. It made it less scary, but
it can be daunting when I call this Vlog HQ or the Theatre of Petrolheads, because obviously with all the pictures and that. But I say to myself, before I go live, right, if it all goes wrong or no one's interacting or there's no one watching, it's like a couple of weeks ago, because I live in a flat and I share the flats, and there's a guy downstairs in the other flat. He set his air fryer off, which then set the fire alarm off during a live video. I had to actually evacuate, and people were like, where's he at? And they were trying to get hold of me, but because I used the phone that I'm using is a day-to-day phone, they couldn't get hold of me because I was still live, and that was going on while the live video was happening. I was like, oh, here we go.
You should have took them for a little look at his air fryer. Yeah, this is what's happened.
That reminds me, I need to clean mine so that doesn't happen.
Yeah. Well, I need.
But no, I enjoy talking about touring cars, motorsport. I try and not be too biased about things, but sometimes I've got to be, because I want to get the point across. But
yeah, well, it's who you support, isn't it? So it's who you support. It's obvious you're going to have a little bias. You know, it's just natural. I think half the time.
I think half the time people know that I support Napa, and I've supported Dynamics for years as well. But like I say, I don't just support one team or one driver. Everyone on that grid has my utmost respect for being there, regardless.
Yeah, I'm the same. I'm similar. I like to see. I suppose I like to see an underdog. So that's my biggest thing. I like to see someone in any motorsport really, or any sport actually. I like the underdogs. You know, so any of them guys coming or girls coming through from the rear or the middle of the pack and winning something, that's a buzz. Seeing it live would be a buzz. Yeah.
I get a lot of stick now and again on the live video for being a Wolverhampton Wanderers fan, but
oh well, yeah. I mean, I suppose that's fair enough.
Someone's got to, but
yeah, well, my
probably reasons for that. So
my dad's a huge Nottingham Forest fan, so he'll have something to say about that. Yeah.
Oh dear.
I suppose I follow Hull City actually, and because I live in Hull, so I follow Hull City, which is interesting. We've been up and down all over the place, so
each is their own, mate. Each is their own. It's the same.
Yeah, it passes a Saturday afternoon. There's no motor racing on a Saturday, so.
Well, that's the thing. It's bragging rights in the family because my mum's side of the family are Villa fans, so it's more painful. It's more painful for me being a Wolves fan than it is supporting them, I suppose.
Yeah.
But,
yeah, we're not going to football.
No, I always tell people don't bring football into this because it's a motorsport vlog page, not a football page.
Yeah.
But then sometimes I do wear my football tops just to say, yeah, this is the other bastion, but it's because what I'm wearing at the time. So
yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. Cool. So what is that now? 9:30. Yeah. That's been all right, isn't it? Has that been? How long have we been on?
We have been almost an hour and a half.
Oh, it flies, doesn't it? It does fly.
I was thinking. I said to John before. I'll be on till about 9 o'clock. She's messaged me on because she's in the other room. She says, "Oh, funny 9 o'clock. This is." I think she can hear me now.
Where's he going? Yeah. Well, unless I get a toilet installed in here, then I'll probably have to go soon anyway. But
I think we'll wrap it up here,
cool.
John.
Cool.
But thank you, mate, for coming on and talking all things BTCC.
Cheers for having us on your page.
All right, no problem. I'm sure we'll link up again at some point.
Yeah, definitely.
I always try and say that I'll get returning guests on and stuff like that. And I'm getting some new stickers ordered soon, so I'll drop you a message and see if you want one of them. Definitely.
We'll have to do this. You have to tell me where you're ordering your stickers from.
Yeah, I get it from a company called Sticker It on the internet.
All right.
I think they're based in Bristol. So I've had a few stickers previously, but I've run out, so I'll have to get you some more.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, no, definitely, 100% like stickers.
Definitely get you one.
Cool.
But obviously, check out the Sausage Club podcast because I'm sure John, Rich, and Harry will have some more very familiar guests that probably might have me on at some point again.
Yeah, I guess we should. Yeah, we're usually on YouTube, but we are on all social stuff. But we're generally on YouTube and TikTok just now. So yeah, it's fun. We do what we can, kind of thing. I suppose, like yourself, you're very structured. Actually, you seem to you hit your vlogs all the time.
I try and do live videos twice a week, even 3 times a week if I can.
That's mega. Yeah, it's good.
Sometimes it doesn't go to plan, and I just do the one a week. But that's because I try and sometimes let things get the better of me outside of it. But then,
yeah, happens to everyone, doesn't it?
Yeah,
it does. Everyone, so just got to stay positive.
Yeah,
keep going. And I'll watch your next one as well. Cool. So
that'll probably be Monday. I don't know what we're talking about on Monday yet.
Cool. Yeah. No worries. So
it'll probably be something related. I don't know. It all depends. I have to think. But I don't normally think of the subject until I'm live. So
yeah, fair enough. Ad hoc makes it more exciting. Cool. So how do I get out of this then, Dan?
Just click the X button, I believe.
Cool. So I will leave you to say goodbye to your lovely viewers anyway. So cheers for having me on.
No reason, mate.
Cool. I will see you later. Bye bye.
So there we go, guys. We have had John Chambers from the Sausage Kerb podcast. I hope you've enjoyed that. I've enjoyed talking about it. I have been really overwhelmed this week. This week's been full of emotion. It has been probably a good week for the live videos. I will see you guys on Monday around 8:30 p.m. Not too sure what we're going to be talking about as of yet, though, but we will be focusing on more things, and we will be doing, of course, a Knockhill preview next Friday, or is it next Friday, or is it next Thursday? I can't remember what day I'm going to be doing it. But until Monday, guys, have a fabulous weekend, and I hope you've enjoyed it. If you are new around here and you have followed us from the Sausage Kerb podcast, please do like and follow Hoppers Motorsport vlogs, because we'd love to have you. But until Monday, guys, take care, enjoy your weekend. Just remember, inbox is open if you fancy a chat. I've got all the time in the world. But yes, I will see you Monday. Take care. Ta-ra.